Next topic, keys to a long-lasting IP. All right. Now, we want to talk about long-lasting IPs. We talked a little bit about the Call of Duty stuff last week, and you know, that's long-lasting because they make it every single year.
Yeah, we talked about how to keep that year-after-year title fresh.
Right. So keys to a long-lasting IP. What are some of your favorite franchises, and what's their best features? What is a franchise that has failed or become very stale, and where has it gone wrong? So just like when you think of lasting IPs, I think of Halo. You know?
Absolutely.
I think of Halo immediately. I think it's one of those things that's I think of Mario. You know,
Absolutely.
Mario is something that's lasted a long time, and you
even a Super Smash Brothers.
Right. I think of Warcraft. It you know,
almost one of the best examples.
Continues to grow. Can you think of some that haven't made it? That you go, hey, they went away. Okay, where did Crash Bandicoot go? Where did Spyro the Dragon go?
Where did
PlayStation?
Where did Unreal Tournament go?
Yeah, where did Unreal Tournament go? That's another great one. You know, it could be said, where did Zelda go? Because, I mean, you know, Zelda games. I mean, Twilight Princess was really the last. What was Twilight Princess on the Wii?
They've been in
one?
talks for this. This new
Skyward Sword is the one that came out for the Wii.
Yeah, they've been in talks for this new
open world Zelda
for Wii U for
and it looks like they're going to push
for
it
a
back
long time
to the next console.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
There was Skyward Sword. That was
that was for the Wii. That was one that had the motion controls for the sword.
Yeah, okay. But I thought it was Twilight Princess. We're on the wolf.
Nope, that's the GameCube one.
Oh,
That actually,
okay.
they ported it to the Wii.
They ported it. That's the one I
and
played.
then an actual Wii.
Isn't
okay.
Twilight Princess one where you could play multiple characters too? You could play as a bunch of different characters.
No,
that was
thing
Majora's Mask
Was
for
it?
the Nintendo 64.
Yeah. Oh, God damn, Majora's Mask.
That's a great game.
Ocarina of Time is still the best one.
It still is.
I like Majora's Mask the best, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So what makes IPs long lasting? Like what do you think has made Halo so revered and that it continues
for me
to live
personally,
on?
I know that we may, some of us may disagree on this, but the narrative for me is what keeps it going. Having something that's deep and wide and large and can I think that your game is only going to last as long as the amount of time and effort you put in on the front end. Think about how long people have been making and remaking Tolkien-based things. That's
true.
Obviously the thing that I talk about the most. But the reason that
we know,
do you? But do you? But
you're a fan of those books?
But do you know the depths of my love?
Yeah.
But the reason that Peter Jackson in 1998 decided, hey, we can still get legs out of this thing is because he had this crazy deep pull of source material. And then guess what? 10 years later, he does the same thing again with a prequel, book, and people show up in droves and people buy. I mean, people buy the action figures. I mean, it's with something like Halo, you have so much source material to draw from,
right?
And the narrative is so long lasting that they're still making games.
Yeah, right.
I would say it's more about, I would agree a lot of times the narrative. For Halo, though, I think it's because they had a new concept, which was that new way to do first-person shooters. Halo Combat Evolved, I think, was kind of pushing the boundaries.
Oh, yeah, man.
They have that new concept, and then they keep innovating,
Right.
That's the big thing I think people, that's why they fail, is they'll have a good concept, but then 7 games down the line, they stop making new stuff to it. I mean,
I tell you an IP that I don't see being around a long time, and you guys are gonna call me crazy for this. See, I don't see Titanfall being around for a long time.
Definitely not.
Like if Titanfall 2 really amazes me and blows me away, that'll be awesome.
But if it's Titanfall with swords,
but then
it'll be fun.
And
It'll
elves,
be fun,
right? Yeah,
right. But see, that's the thing with Titanfall. I have Titanfall 2. I'm excited about coming out just because I'm we'll see what they did. I think Titanfall dropped the ball serious by not having a story in that game. If you had a narrative story in that game,
the crap out of it.
Yeah, we played a lot of Titanfall, but it doesn't. Right now, we all said, let's play Titanfall. Just the other night, we're like, hey, let's all play Titanfall, and we're all going to get together and do it. But there's no draw. We're like, we'll play it. We'll get around to it.
One thing that's unfortunate for Titanfall is their big concept was the running along walls and double jumping, very mobile, very futuristic.
And then everybody
stole it. All the Call of Duty games, there's 3 of them that came out like that. And
right.
So they kind of, unfortunately, got a little stale just in between game 1 and 2, honestly.
Yeah, that's very
true. Yep. And
do you think they'll go for a story campaign in the next one?
I heard there was. I heard there was a single player
I really
campaign.
hope so. What other game did we just play recently that were like, hey, man, Battlefront. Come on, man. Come on.
I still have not bought it for
and
that
that's
reason.
what I'm saying. I think that might have been an IP killer for because we were, dude, come on. We were psyched out of our minds for Battlefront.
For years.
For years. I mean,
Yeah.
EA released that little thing with that, was it AT-AT walk-in and like this.
I'll never forget that tear that just curled up at the edge of
Yeah.
my eye whenever I saw the new trailer, and then more tears when I figured out that they were only doing old movie material, and that they weren't doing any prequel material at all. That made me so sad.
Right, and let's even go further than that and say this, right? We're all pumped about Overwatch tonight. I didn't get tired of the Overwatch beta at all. I loved every bit of it.
loved
But
it.
do you know why? Because it's a multiplayer-based game, and I don't expect anything else out of it. But guess what?
It's Rocket League.
It's Rocket League, but guess what? Blizzard has released these videos. I mean, you watched one in my office the other day. The Hanzo Genji backstory thing.
I felt like I was watching
beautiful.
like a TV show.
Yeah,
that
I was
wanted to keep watching.
That I wanted to keep watching. It was awesome. It was beautiful. You had Star Wars at your freaking fingertips to do whatever you wanted to do story-wise.
You had a new movie.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, man. I mean, come on. And you know what? Whoever's out there, EA, whoever's got it, dude, just do us a favor. Make Force Unleashed 3 and just put it out so we can
Oh
we
my
can
gosh!
play that game.
I would buy that. Like I'd pre-order it if they said today. I'd pre-order it right
man.
now.
Love that
because
game.
Force Unleashed was amazing.
Yeah.
I beat the Force Unleashed 2 on the hardest difficulty in 4.5 hours, but I loved every second of that.
That was a
4.5
short
hours.
game.
It was a very short game.
You're just really good, man.
Right.
Yeah, it must be.
So what are these things? So we said that no narrative and some different things. What are some other things that have killed IPs?
No narrative, no innovation.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are some things? Well, that's two fun questions. Number one, name an IP. I named a few. Name an IP that died. Like it was like, hey, this was getting big, and it died. And then throw out an idea for a new one. Like what game would you like to see somebody make? You know, like, hey, here's what I'd like to see made. All right. All together now.
Sorry, I thought you were about to say.
No.
You were just so convincing with those instructions.
Yes, you're
man.
right.
I would say that something it's not dead, but I think it will die as soon as the next one comes out. Is Assassin's Creed? They took a break, and they're going to have one that probably come out next year sometime. That is a game that never innovated. It had one good concept. It added some cool story elements with Ezio. in the second
truly
games,
never innovated.
It is the same game.
you have a grappling hook now.
Right. Oh boy.
And unless they do something amazing with this next one, I don't think it gets too far.
And
I will say that the one thing that I did feel like they innovated with, and which is honestly what made this game probably one of the most
I was about to
enjoyable
say
for
the
me,
exact
was
same thing.
Assassin's Creed 4,
No,
adding
that's not
the
what I was
naval
gonna say.
combat.
Oh, the naval combat. Yeah, I was going to say adding.
How quickly did you go and destroy every single?
I did. Oh yeah,
I've
I
never
around.
beat the game, dude. I've
Island
only
base.
done all the bases, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, I own everything now. Anyway,
the
I'm fine.
narrative of that game wasn't super compelling, and Kenway wasn't
Right.
super compelling. But I tell you what, in real time, being able to like do this almost tower defense type, shoot
Right.
the cannons off of the off of the bases, and
Very
then
cool.
like as soon as you shot all the cannons off of the bases in real time, you'd go up to the island, get off your ship with
Yeah.
your guys, and like raid this
So cool.
fort. Like so cool.
I told you, Unity, we all hate and talk about how rough it was, and it was. I like the armor sets. I like the fact that it was
Oh
the
my
first
gosh,
one
that
where you
was
could do all
awesome.
the cool armor sets and different things. You could use a little more customization, but for the first time in 8 games,
there was
or however-
hundreds and hundreds of customization.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
options. It was
Now,
awesome.
where they failed is the coolest stuff you had to play like with your friends in a party for how many hours, and you're like,
Yeah, it
oh,
was
don't,
awful.
oh God, don't
Yeah.
make me
Oh, yeah.
farm stuff.
That
You
that
know?
franchise is horrible about having a farm and having to
Yeah.
collect everything.
Or you can
Right.
go on Uplay and buy it for real money. And that's where
Exactly.
microtransactions come in. I'll tell you an IP that I feel like for me has kind of died off. And maybe it's just because I'm not a PlayStation owner. It probably because I'm not a PlayStation owner. I'm sure people still play it. What happened to Final Fantasy?
No, yeah.
Honestly, like what happened to Final
yeah.
Fantasy after Final Fantasy 10?
I've never played a Final Fantasy.
So they've had
Are
a
you
couple
serious?
Never played
You
one.
never played Final Fantasy 7?
Never
like one
played
of the most infamously great
Nope,
games?
never played it.
Wow, that's
I know.
crazy.
that
Shame.
game. I don't think it innovated. It had a couple. They've done a couple MMOs.
It's, turn-based is turn-based.
which are
right?
MMOs, honestly.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you can't. Yeah.
This new one, 15, is like the first one that feels like it's doing something different. Even then, I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy. I don't really like the art style. I think the stories tend to be very, very similar.
I played Final Fantasy.
At least it looks different.
I played Final Fantasy Tactics on
Love me some turn-based games.
on
man.
on PlayStation.
Yeah.
It was original PlayStation, right?
Yeah, and they ported it everywhere.
And I loved that
Really?
game.
Dude,
Oh my gosh!
I love
what
those
a
turn-based
great game.
grid like combat games.
Oh.
Fire Emblem, Final
Oh my
Fantasy
gosh.
Tactics, man, I
Well,
love
Will-
it.
You're
oh
gonna,
my
you're gonna
gosh,
love
so
what was
good.
Behemoth's new game coming out? The people who make Castle Crashers. They got a new game coming out. I think it's
Really?
very
Is it?
similar to that.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
which
cool.
I love everything they put out because.
But yeah, Final Fantasy for me, like I'm sure people still play it, and like whenever I see a
Right.
trailer for it, I'm like, oh man, that looks really good. I'm never gonna play that.
Let me tell you a franchise and IP. I can't understand why it died, and I'm calling it dead at this point because it's been too long, and fans have been talking about a number 3
Duke Nukem.
forever. No, it's Half-Life, man. Like Half-Life is
yeah.
one of those games that, dude,
It's dead.
everybody cried out for.
Put a fork in it, man.
How did you not make another one? Like how could what? It's,
Did you
it's
ever play-
It's
did
Valve,
you ever play
right?
'em?
I played Half-Life
Yes.
2 a little bit. Yeah, I played Half-Life 2 a little bit, and it,
What,
I mean,
what was the big draw for it?
You were a researcher, and aliens attacked, and you had to like basically fight them off. But
Yeah.
they were really innovative. Like you had this gravity gun.
the
that
gravity
basically
gun was the
could,
thing that everybody like. You
yeah.
could pick up anything, and this is back early 360 days. I mean, like
Yeah.
early
I
360
mean,
days.
but you played Portal.
I have not. I'm not a big Portal person.
No. Oh my
I
gosh,
tried
dude.
it. I know. I know.
You're talking about a great IP, man. Portal 2.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a puzzle guy. That's why. That's the
that's
one thing
sad.
that I hate
Yeah,
about
that's
God
sad.
of War.
That is
sad.
the best puzzle game. I
Yes,
think,
because
is Portal 2.
two-player Portal 2 is a blast. Like that is so much
That's why I
fun.
quit playing the God of War
Oh my God,
games
dude.
and never
Portal's
played the
so good.
Darksiders games.
I think that Half-Life, I mean, at this point, it's gotten so big. It's like a Duke Nukem situation where they
Right.
can't release anything that's going to be good enough. And
You're
they
so
make
right.
so much money off of Steam,
Right.
like at this point.
Oh, yeah,
Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
even worth doing for them?
True.
I don't know.
That's true.
All right, so what would you like to see a new IP? What's something that you'd like to see? You're like, oh man, this would be really cool if somebody did this. You know, somebody came out and did this. This would be a cool topic.
This is going to be weird, and this is probably not something that everybody would like. But you know how, like, we played a lot of Destiny. I played a little bit of Division. I like those types of Borderlands, where you
Right.
collect gear and stuff. I'd like the idea of that having more of an end game type thing where you can still go through different things and you can earn resources to make new gear and stuff. I mean, I'm a big Warframe fan.
Right.
I was playing that for a long time, and the
Yes, you were.
big draw on that is you can go and make all these different weapons and armor and all these different things that keep the game interesting.
New Prime just came out.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Vobin Prime?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not played it in a while. It got old.
Guys,
but
Mike's got to go. he's going
honestly,
home.
but that's a free-to-play game, and it got old. Like, it's very repetitive, but
Definitely.
why won't a AAA,
Yeah.
do a Destiny that doesn't end? Instead of just having your numbers go up, keep adding new gear for people to get. People keep playing. I mean,
Yeah.
And people are still playing Destiny for that very same
definitely.
reason.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Something that I can feel like I'm progressing, but there's not really like a set end point. Because
Right.
a lot of games, there's progression, but you're done after a certain amount of time, or
True.
it's not worth doing. So
I'll tell you an IP that for me, I am literally like, and for the longest time, and I've just been dying and dying and dying for someone to do really super well, and I'd love to see somebody like a BioWare do something like this. Where is my really, really good story-based feudal Japan game?
Oh. Oh
Like-
yeah, dude.
Like
That's a
where-
great
where
idea.
is where is the movie Last Samurai the game?
Oh.
You know
That's
what I
a great
mean?
idea.
Like
I really love that idea.
the fact that Assassin's Creed has not done a feudal
Yeah.
Japan game,
that's been the rumor for years. and
like
they've never
is
done
just mind blowing to me. Like
Yeah.
because I don't know what there's just something. Even when we watched the Hanzo
yeah.
Genji
yeah.
trailer that the Overwatch did, I'm sitting there thinking to myself like, why isn't there like imagine a Mass Effect but you're a samurai warrior?
dude. Yeah.
Like why hasn't anybody? Because there's, I mean, all love for Dynasty Warriors, and I even played the offshoot game Samurai Warriors, which was great too. I played a bunch of that. But after Dynasty, you want to talk about a game that hasn't innovated in 17 years?
They're not even renaming it. It's like Dynasty Warriors 12.
Oh, dude,
they don't even change the name.
I have another.
It's like
IP,
Dragon Ball Z
man.
games. It's like Dynasty Warriors, Tenkaichi 5, Budokai 3.
Hey,
Xenoverse 2 is
2,
coming
dog.
out.
Oh, I'm
excited.
getting it.
Yes. I still haven't beat Barris because he's
I know.
the hardest.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse is a great game. If you
He
haven't
is.
played, you need to check
It is.
Another IP. I don't really may have a. I would love to see a first-person Western game. Like I love
Ooh, that
love
would be
Western.
Dead
Red Dead Redemption kind of fills the void for that for me, dude.
But in first person.
Yeah, but like, dude, getting your posse together, man, on Red Dead Redemption, just going around doing stuff. But I will tell you another IP that I just thought about that died, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Dude, Onimusha, man. You play any of those Onimusha games on PlayStation?
Yeah. That's
God.
that's your good feudal Japan story-based games.
You didn't like them?
Never played it.
Oh man,
I've never even heard of those.
If you have
I wish I could
PlayStation,
go
you
back
can
in
go back
time.
and I don't know if I don't have PlayStation 4.
All I have is PS4.
Okay.
I'm sure you could.
But if you can go back on their market and like buy older games for them, dude,
Onimusha
go
was
back.
like Ninja Gaiden Light. It was like
it was Ninja Gaiden. Okay, it was Zelda for feudal Japan. Like
Yes,
it was
so
and dude,
good.
it was so good. Like, I remember the cutscenes in those games were like
Onimusha 2.
Oh man,
man, so
dude!
good.
Onimusha 3 when you paired up with Jean Pierre, whatever that French guy, and
That was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. But because you go to hell, and like it's kind of strange. But
Yes,
it's,
you do.
But it's good, dude.
1 and 2 were very
Dante's
good.
Inferno, also another great game.
Love that
All right,
game.
moving on.